Well, it's Sunday night. It's after 6, and I've kind of made 6 p.m. my time to see who wants to talk. Oh, we got somebody there. I've already got a thumb. I like that. I bet you it's Hardy Miles. Yep. Good morning, Guapacinta. How are you? Hello, Junior. Welcome to my channel, where we just talk about all the dumb stuff that is going on in our lives. Oh, of course you are still beautiful in my eyes. Did you have a good sleep? Yep, the world is full of people. And then there's the crazy ones like me. Yeah, and you know what? I think where sporting this in the Philippines will get attention that because when I was there, I didn't see anybody with a beard hanging around their chin. And then to make it real interesting, I should walk it around in a red suit, or a red shirt and red shorts, and black Crocs. Oh, so I ventured outside this afternoon, and I opened up the door, and I got a surprise. There was another 4 inches of fresh snow. It and it wasn't light fluffy snow. It was heavy, wet. But that means as it melts off, I'm going to have a tank full of water to use again, and not the skanky the swamp water that was put in there in, what was it, December, just before things froze up. Oh, that water was disgusting. I didn't even want to run it into the toilet to flush, the poops away, because the water going in smelled worse than the poop in the toilet. So you guys missed my dinner already. I ate that about an hour ago. I again cooked up some rice. I love my rice cooker. I got the smallest one. Put in 3/4 cup of rice with a cup and a half of water. Dump a bunch of vegetables on top, and this time I dug out my bag of Italian meatballs and threw a couple of handfuls of them on top. Made for a tasty dinner. Lots of protein, lots of vegetables, and my rice. And now my belly is happy. And then I figured out that eating rice is good for me, because I'm not getting that belly bloat that I used to have. If you look at my video when I was in the Philippines at Pangyan Falls with Wonderlove, My belly was just way, way, way out there. Looked like I was pregnant 8 months. Now it's flattening up, but I've cut back on what I eat, the snacks I eat, and I less potato chips, less chocolate. I mainly eat just rice, and if I overcook a little bit, then that's my snack for the rest of the day. Oh, thank you for sharing it to your YouTube. We'll see how many people it draws into this live stream. Let's see. Nope. Um, okay. I don't see a tool to do that here on the screen to invite somebody to join. I imagine eventually I'll figure that out. Yeah, I like my orange shirt. Orange is the color of the royal family of Holland. Oh, hello, Erica. How are you? Were you sitting at home with mom? Well, it's evening here now. It's after 6 p.m. So in Philippines, it's almost dark if it was, quarter after 6. Uh-huh. Yeah, I looked at my analytics. I'm actually doing pretty good. It's showing I've got 178 watch hours right now. Oh yes. Yep, that's right. It's 7:30 p.m. So yeah, you have done your work for the day. Yep. You like doing or working at KFC there, Erica? Uh huh. Well, tell her I'll scrub her back for her. Okay. Oh. So you like working at KFC? All day, all day long, making chicken and French fries, right? Now, I asked your mom the other day if Casas was. Oh wow! I asked your mom the other day if Casas was her maiden name or her married name. But since you also have the last name Casas, then I would assume that is married name. Because Philippines is a patriarchal lineage country, unlike Spain, which is a matriarchal lineage family. So the kids get mama's maiden name, or yeah, it's the mother's name that carries on, and not the father's. the good thing, Erica, if you stick with it 3 more years, you can easily apply for fast food franchises like in Canada. Yeah, I get that you would want a vegetable meal. Um, the fast food restaurants are not big on vegetable meals because vegetables are very expensive, so there's very low margins on them for them to make profit. And um, like lettuce, for instance, it can go bad quickly, so they can have bigger losses on damaged raw materials. But yeah, the Filipinos that come here to work at McDonald's, for instance, they've worked in the fast food industry in Philippines for 5 years. So just something to think about. Um, I mean, stick it out. There's always that possibility because these places are always hiring from overseas. The local kids. Oh no! I don't want to work at McDonald's. That's beneath me. McDonald's or Subway or let's see, Pizza Hut. You know, all these fast food restaurants. And we got to get your mother, get her credentials into uh, the province or state where she'd like to get accredited to teach, abroad, because that has to be done first. I believe the fee for the Ontario Teachers College is $200 to assess her credentials. And obviously, she's shown me that she has them all together. Good evening, Abby. How are you? So, Abby, just so you know, Erica is Harty's daughter. The one thing, though, Erica, if you do apply here, be very, very careful with the contract that you sign. Um, because some of them will provide you with housing and then deduct it from your pay. And then the housing is not fair market value, and you're stuck. And they'll charge you so much for that housing that what you have left, you can just barely buy food with here. Like they'll take almost 60% of your paycheck for housing, for instance. The the one store chain here brought in a bunch of Filipinos and did that initially. And one of the Filipinos was smart enough to know that, that was not legal and reported them to the Canadian government. So housing should not exceed 30% of your weekly or monthly income. So if they're going to charge you for your housing, it can't be more than 30% of your income. Otherwise, it's not fair market, it's extortion. And you don't want to be trapped in their housing and you can never get out. That then it becomes slavery. So what happened is this guy, the store owner, bought, I think it was 3 houses to put the Filipinos all in, and he was overcharging them, and they moved out. Now he's sitting with 3 houses he can't rent because he's overfinanced on them. So when he rents them at a loss. My Cinta is back. Are you all clean now? Did I do a good job of scrubbing your back, Hardy? It's funny. I'm looking at the screen and my YouTube is telling me that there's 0 people in the room, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 of you there. I got a comment in one of my live streams from a man that I used to talk to regularly in Wonderlove's channel. It was kind of nice to see him. He's from Brazil. Oh, of course I'll be here on Friday, Erica. I wouldn't want to miss your birthday. So anything exciting going on in Alaminos or San Antonio? I got a question for Hardy. I was scrolling around through Facebook Marketplace for Alaminos, and somebody's selling off a piggery with house, like the landowner's house piggery, and I think it's 10 hectares. Looks like it's not currently in use. And they talk about dragon fruit and other stuff as well. You happen to know anything about that? Let's see. Yeah, piggery building plus house and lot for sale. 10 hectares. Piggery building, big house for the boss, worker house, 5-car parking hall, dragon fruit farm, rice land. And the listing or the seller is Jinky Pez Reynaldo. Oh, hang on. Those are the 4 pictures. Of course, my screen's too bright for the details. They have price on it at 700, but I'm pretty sure that's not the price. I imagine it's more like 7 million pesos for 10 hectares with a house, but no details on the exact location. Like not even, which barangay. Yeah. If you're planning to do business and learn piggery, this is it. Package deal, no need to construct, just load it. So that's what leads me to believe that there is no pigs in there. And I'll give you the name again, Jinky Paz Reynaldo. Let's see if that shows up. Oh, turn the brightness down again. That's her Facebook page. There we go. Hey, Nixon, my friend from Brazil. How are you doing? Long time no see. I saw your comment earlier. How is Brazil keeping you? Yes, you have the same birthday as another live streamer, Art Johan. But here's the thing, Erica. I have this, and I have this, and my brain can handle 2 live streams, or watching 2. I imagine, Nixon, that you are still a regular at Lovely. Yeah, Hardy, if you feel so inclined to kind of dig around and find out a little more info about that piggery, I might like to, get some information on it. In particular, what is the price? Of course, now with
accurate pricing and information, could you please tell me which product you are interested in?
Of course, now with the war going on, there might be an effect on something like that too. Yeah, no rush. No rush at all. Right now, my assets are kind of tied up a bit. You're trucking around again, are you? Of course. Yeah, Monday you have school, but I thought school was over just for the students, not the teachers, right? So Nixon Hardy Miles is another blogger. She's from the north end of the country, north of Manila. School teacher, and she does YouTube for just some extra connection and a little bit of extra revenue to pad the wallet a bit. Being a single mom supporting three kids, two of them do work, but you know, of course, yeah. Oh, okay. So they're loading up your truck. Hey, hi, Marissa. How are you? I saw you baking away earlier. So I guess, Hardy, you have what, report cards to finish for the students, or just year-end reports for uh, compiling a whole bunch of observations and plans for the next year? Oh, okay. Yes, Nixon. I am in Canada, but the other day I did a driving live stream, and I showed my viewers just how close I am to the United States. I can be in International Falls, Minnesota in 15 minutes, including going through customs. Yep, I'm sitting in my dungeon, in up here in the Great White North, getting my beard ready to go to the Philippines again this fall. But I'm going to go incognito. I'm going to go as Santa Claus. Noopy, he's alive. Right this afternoon it was about 4 degrees Celsius. So yeah, it's cold, and we had about 4 inches of fresh snow overnight. But because it came down right around the freezing point, that snow was very wet and very heavy. But the boss called the kid in to run the big payloader and push the snow out of the way. It took him damn near 4 hours to do it, because when it's light and fluffy, you can push a huge pile of it because there's no weight. But when it's wet and heavy, oh my god, you can push only a wee little bit. So I imagine he had to change a few times from the snow blade to the bucket, just to pick up the piles that were no longer movable with the blade. Yeah, Nixon, I like the cold, but not the cold that we get here. That minus 40, that's just for the birds. Oh, wait a minute. They even fly south because they don't like the cold. So, yeah, I'm uh, I'm looking forward to leaving and going to someplace just a little bit warmer. Oh wait, no, it's a lot warmer there. I'm gonna go and retire in the Philippines. And if I can't find a Filipino wife, then I'll just find myself a good kasambahay. Kasambahay is like a housekeeper. Actually, it is a live-in housekeeper, if I understand the translation correctly. Right, Hardy? Yeah, if I live in the mountains in Philippines, then it's much cooler getting up and away from the concrete jungle. But it still gets hot up there. Yeah. Yep. Uh, Newpie, I've known Nixon for about a year and a half. We met in another streamer's channel and would talk very regularly. Nixon is a truck driver from Brazil. If I remember correctly, it's Sao Paulo. Ah, yes, 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 yes. Of course, yep. Then you know the stream I'm talking about. I try not to say that name too often. Yep. Yeah, the unmentionable. Sad thing is, I thought things were going great with her and and I don't know what the fuck happened. She started ignoring me more for Ruben and Bat Signal. So, hey, when things aren't working out, things aren't working out, and it's just better to move on than to try and breathe new life into it. Yep. Yeah, we'll move on. Oh. Yeah, the reason I need to find a good Filipina is to get this knot massaged out of my right shoulder. Oh yeah, we're talking about the sexy dancer, Artie. Oh, that's nice, Nixon. Yeah, that's it's that time when she does her stream, and I noticed I think it was the beginning of January that she was no longer in the house that I spent time at with her. She's moved. And then there was um, another channel. Oh, I can't remember the name of it now. It's Precious something. Um, um, but at one time, I was at her channel and I heard Wonder in the background. I was like, "What?" Yeah, Newpie or Nixon, women. With both my ex-wives, it's like, damn, you can't live with them. And you certainly can't shoot them. Now, here's a funny story. When my wife took off with my kids, she went to the shelter and she was absolutely convinced, from all the movies or videos that they showed, abused women in the shelter, that I was going to kill her. Yeah. Good one, Noopy. Pass the beer nuts. But my wife was absolutely convinced that I was going to kill her because she left. And the children's aid workers said that to me, and I said, you guys must have lost your freaking coconuts, because if I kill my wife, right, or my estranged wife, my kids will lose their mother, and because I killed my wife, they will lose their father. Do you think I'm that stupid? That I would do that to my children? They deserve to have their mother and their father. Just that their logic just makes no sense. Their paranoia, their fears. And then in another discussion, I asked one of them, who abuses more, men or women? Oh, women or men, because 98% of all abuse is done by men. Well, at that point, I'd already been doing a lot of studying on abuse statistics. And they were quoting the summary of an abuse study that was done. And the complete quote is, or the complete summary is, that 98% of all intimate partner violence against women is done by men. The demographics of that study was 99.5% male-female relationships and 0.5% female-female relationships. Wait a minute. 0.5% of the demographics in the study were female-female. Yet they accounted for 2% of the intimate partner violence. What? That's 4 times their demographic rate. If it had come up that, 0.5% of the female partner violence was committed by females, that would be on target with their demographics, perfectly normal. But it was 4 times higher than their demographic rate. So that tells me that women are more violent than men by 4 times. Okay, Nixon. Yes, I will always take care. You have a safe day. No, don't forget, rubber side down, okay? And keep it between the ditches. Show us the coats I wear. Oh, yeah, I can do that sometime. Another time when you're here. I'll show you what I, wear in the wintertime. But usually I start with one of these. And then I put on a flannel shirt. And then a light jacket that is made from Thinsulate. So it holds the warmth very well. And then over top of that, I've got one of 2 heavily insulated jackets. They're good for, up down to about -50. So you're gonna do your live stream shortly after I end mine, Hardy, or when you get to school and getting close to noontime? Actually, you don't have classes, you don't have students, so you could do it the whole time you're there. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll watch for it. Hopefully, it'll give me a notification when you start this time. Oh, of course you can do sexy dance. There's nobody there but other teachers. At least that's what I think. But she's got work to do too. So, it's a toss up whether we'll get sexy dance or no. But usually, when Hardy's at the school, and I'm just happy to see the Hardy. She doesn't have to dance for me. I appreciate it, but she doesn't have to. My beard's got a left curl. Oh, yes, sexier in sleepwear. She won't wear a red teddy in the stream, Noopy. I think it's a little too revealing for her comfort level. I know. Uh-huh. You know, it's in the Filipino live streams, the number of viewers that come in, and all they're there for is a peep show. Um, you know, it's like they think YT is a free version of OnlyFans. And the ironic part is, most of them that do that are from a country that starts with IN. Since there's there's none in here, I'm gonna do a few racial jokes. How many packies does it take to undercoat a car, Noopy? Oh yeah, Muslims. And it only takes one packy if you hit them right. What happens when a packy takes his diaper off his ass and wraps it around his head? He gets shitty ideas and shitty attitude. Probably because he forgot to wash the diaper out first. Now Noopy's getting funny. I don't think Christina's an axe murderer. least I haven't heard of any axe murders coming from the Philippines. Now, maybe a machete, but not an axe. You ever watch the Filipino wield a machete, Newfie? Whoo! They are incredibly accurate with that tool. You got to be careful, with their skill using a knife. There could be a new nickname, to replace the bobbit. Yes. Likewise, Snoopy. Christina is beautiful, but not just beautiful. She's smart. And also smart enough to know that she hasn't got the monopoly on knowledge. Uh, hmm. Okay. Oh, excuse my French. And thanks for what, Hardy? Saying what I said about you? I mean, we've only got a small group here. So, um, it's, I think you know how I feel about you, Christine. So I'm going to bounce this idea off Christina. You know how some farmers um, will use carabao to move like goods out of fields to up to a roadway. You need to drive. Oh, okay. You're driving to school. Okay. Well, we'll see you later in a bit. Yeah, we'll be fine without you for a few minutes. I think I can survive. I've been able to go 24 hours, without seeing you once or twice. So I had my dinner over an hour ago, Hardy. So in the Philippines, a lot of farmers will use um, carabao, which is kind of like an ox, to drag a sled. It's just two poles, one down each side of the animal, with a platform at the back to pull stuff out of the fields over rough terrain. Um, yep, you made the day pretty good, and I'll be waiting for you to go live on your stream. Kisses. That's for Christina, not for you, Alex. Oh, okay. So they use the Carabao, and it's well known for being used for that throughout the Philippines. But they don't carry the heck of a lot. They got to be fed, um, and they can get sick amongst other things. Um, but I know that from China I can get very small, narrow, tracked buggies that you can have a stand-on platform at the back, and the front can dump or just be a flat platform or tipping platform, and they're not that expensive. I can sell them in the Philippines for 80,000 pesos to 2,000 Canadian dollars. Make money off of them, and those units will be capable of carrying 3 to 4 times as much as what a Carabao can pull. And I'm thinking that's going to be a half decent business model to import them and sell them through various agrarian areas of the country. Because a mechanical unit doesn't get sick like a Carabao will, or doesn't need to be have food and water every day. And just to make it a funny way to introduce them, I'm going to call them Caribao, Carribao, whereas the animal is Carabao. Yep. Yeah, exactly. I've got equipment already sitting there in Monty, and the engineering is done through an engineering firm I've met from Monty, to do domed structures, houses. They're lightweight gunite structures. I can form and build a house in about 2 weeks, and they are much more resilient to earthquakes and to typhoons. Because the reason typhoons it can be so devastating is because the wind can get inside the structure, or rip on the overhangs of the houses and get in there and just lift the roof off. But if it's a dome and you close your windows, and it's concrete, it's got to lift that whole fucking structure off the ground, and that ain't going to happen because it's just too damn heavy. But every one will be designed so that there's shutters that can be pulled closed and latched from the inside, just to slow that wind power from getting in there and building up that pressure that it needs to do the liftoff. And running the numbers with the engineer, I can drop the construction cost of a cement house from about 30,000 pesos a meter down to about, I think it was 13,000. So, we're getting, significantly less, because the labor cost of putting the structure up is, that drastically reduced. The gunite just makes it go so freaking fast. I need to have a machine mixing the cement at an incredible rate so it can be shot in one day. And lightweight concrete is a mix of a foaming agent and Portland cement. So, I've got a great big foam making machine there already. And then a mixing vat that is the has a pickup out of the bottom that feeds straight into the gun, right? And yeah, in one day we can probably shoot a was it 15 meter? Yeah, little white balls too. That's another one. Polystyrene, perlite. Getting that in the Philippines will be a lot harder than getting bottles of foaming agent. Yeah, no, you're not perlite. That's kind of like the Irishman, the Frenchman, and the Newfie. They were going to go hunting. And the Irishman said, okay, well, I know where we're going to go. And the Frenchman says, well, okay, I'll provide the transportation. So that leaves the supplies to the Newfie. So the Newfie calls the Frenchman, or the Irishman says, where are we going? So the Irishman gave him the address. And as the day arrives, the Frenchman and the Irishman are sitting waiting at the meeting spot, and the fucking Newfie doesn't show up. Not there. So they drive up to, where they're going to go hunting. And as they pull in, the Newfie pops out from behind the bushes and he goes, surprise! Yeah. The other thing with perlite, buddy, is it's got to be transported. It's super light, but it's bulky as fuck. For one house, I would need damn near a transport truckload to mix in with the Portland. And for one house, that volume of concrete with foaming agent, I need 1 5-gallon pail. A lot smaller quantity, to transport. I just got to mix a little bit of water and air with it. Even if it's 2 5-gallon pails, that's still a lot less than a semi truck full of perlite. The only way perlite would be practical is if I was sourcing it very close by from, say, recovered styrofoam packaging, running it through, with a machine that, basically turns it back into very small pieces. But they don't use a lot of that, foam packaging, not like we do here. Freaking everything you buy is wrapped in it. Oh yeah. Yep. Plaster of Paris. That's basically what crucibles are made from. It's plaster of Paris. It takes incredible heat. Now, the other nice thing about making these houses with the lightweight concrete in a dome form, I can make that dome form from Tyvek. It's available over there too, or tarpaulin material. Just make the seams airtight and put a great big fan inside of it and blow it up to its size and spray the concrete. And when it's done, you just peel it away from the concrete, pull it out the door, and take it on to the next one. You can do 10, 15 houses with the one form. And then you build your rebar grid outside of that with a 2-inch gap. Create wood frame bucks for the windows and doors with a dome over the top. And when they're built right, they come apart and just collapse in, and you take them on to the next one. You can use them for way more than 15. So it reduces a lot of material costs by being able to use them for multiple buildings that just get built in slightly different configurations, where the windows are, where the doors are, but essentially the dome shape remains the same. And a shit ton of rebar, and rebar is not that expensive over there. It's used everywhere in their current building, but when they make hollow blocks, they use about half of the Portland cement to make their concrete blocks as we do here. So it makes them extremely weak. They crumble. I think their mixture ratio is 5 parts. 5 parts sand and gravel, 2 parts or 1 part Portland, 2 parts Portland and 1 part water. We make it with 3-2-1. So yeah, they're very cheap, but buddy, cheap is because they're not paying for the Portland to make the block strong. Now you can buy hollow blocks there for, I think it's 30 pesos a piece, like 75 cents Canadian. But I'm telling you, they just do not. They aren't made with enough Portland, and they are not pressed into their mold. They basically just fill the mold and give it a tamp, and that's it. Here they're put under I think it's 150 psi to press them before they're pulled out of the mold. I don't know. I think you can get adobe brick over there too. I didn't see any, and I didn't see any being used. Most everything there was done with what they call hollow block, and when they use hollow block, they put rebar in them, and then they fill every hole solid from bottom to top. I mean, that's probably the only way they get any strength out of the wall is by filling the hollow block, because there's no strength in the walls. And when the domes are cured, you can go inside with plaster of Paris and put a nice finishing coat on with. Some of them are. Some of them are destroyed in the typhoons because they don't. And earthquakes. Because the hollow block is so weak on its face that a little shake from an earthquake and they break. The only reason they don't always fall down is if the blocks have been filled from bottom to top with rebar, every third or fourth vertical cavity. But the biggest thing for the typhoon is the ability to grab onto surfaces like overhangs, and the wind gets in underneath that roof, and there's literally nothing holding those roofs up. It just rips them off. They put rafters at 6 or 8 feet on center, not like here, 24 inches with hurricane straps and all of that other stuff. It was quite eye opening when I looked at their construction. Yeah, the flooding's the other one. People build in flood areas, and it's like, why would you even do that? But it's an easy build, and they just accept it. And if you're, when they're poor, nobody, and they build a house in a floodplain, nobody's going to say, no, you can't build here. Right? Not even the government officials. You want to build there, have at it. It's build at your own risk. And when the flood comes and the house washes away, guess what? You start over. There was one place when we went to Eden. We passed by it on the way through, and you could tell it was a floodplain. It's one of the floodplains that doesn't always flood every year, but the housing in there, definitely reflected that. It was whatever material they could salvage from wherever, put together to make a structure. There was no aesthetics to it at all. It was basic shelter. And and if you look real closely, a lot of the walkways were elevated wood or shipping pallets, that were laid down to keep, to have something dry to walk on. Yeah. Yep. So the place in Monty where I had my haircut done when I was with was there it was Kitty Corner across the intersection. So the barber was right on a corner. So Kitty Corner across the intersection was a vacant lot that had fences on it. But when you go into Google Earth or Google Maps, you can go through there, and what you see is a whole community of these tiny little houses crammed into that space, and they are decrepit little shacks built on someone else's property. And what happened is the owners of the property went in there and cleaned everything out and put up a sheet metal fence to keep people off of it, and then posted signs on that fence. But that's what happens is people will go in and build on these vacant lots until the owner does something about it. Yeah, bloggers in the province, they'll show that. I mean, Alpa, if you look at her house, it's basically that way. They live not far from the airport. It's a leased property. So they haven't put a lot of money into constructing a house because if the landowner says, okay, you're out of here, they don't want to leave behind 100,000 pesos of building materials, and hiring somebody to haul all those materials out of there will be costly. And with her husband making basically 500 pesos a day, most of that goes to feeding the kids, and Elpa's channel still is not monetized. She's been trying for 3 years, but she hasn't gotten to the 4,000 watch hours where she can be monetized. Oh wow, we're over an hour already. Is Hardy still driving, or have you settled in at school already? Yeah, it's a different culture, Newfie. And when if you're gonna go there, you've got to go with an open mind. Don't judge them for what they have or what they don't have. Um, just accept that that is the position they're in, and give them a hand if you can, in even the smallest way. If you see a street vendor, that's obviously, their bike is barely held together with uh, utility wire and zip ties, right? And they're trying to sell some food. Um, you go to them and you buy more than you need. So you make like a 200 or 300 peso purchase. What what's 300 pesos to us, right? In dollars, that's not even $8. I did that a couple of times. I made a I I would buy one of them was selling lechon manok, which is roasted chicken, right? Fire roasted chicken, and it was 300 pesos for the chicken. So I pulled out a 500 and told them to keep the change. They were like they had never ever experienced that before. So I made it from $8 to $11, or just over $11. But it made a difference in their life. So the when I was there with Lovely, I got to use the scooter, and I did a little bit of touring around, checking things out. Especially when she was live streaming, I'd just tell her I'm going out for a drive, and so I got to see some of these little communities because her house was way up, about 2 kilometers up the mountain, um, and beyond where she was, the you could see the poverty areas, um, the rural poverty, which is even more than when you're right up in the city. Yep. Yeah. So, anyways, man, I'm gonna call it a night. Mother Nature has told me that I got to go pay her a visit. And yeah, it's not one that I can ignore any longer. So, Alex, it's been great. Looks like Hardy has disappeared temporarily, but I'll see her in her stream. Everybody else, thank you for joining me in the stream. Nixon, Abby, Marissa, thank you, thank you. Have a good night, Alex. We'll see you later.